Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to our 120 replay. It's the tier 9 French heavy tank. And this is possibly the first actually decent game I had in it while I was still grinding for that 120mm gun. So this is with the 100mm gun, 6-round clip, basically what the 5100 uses. And like I said, I've been really struggling with it up to this point, and I'm actually still kind of struggling with it, to be honest. It's not a tank I'm greatly enjoying playing, even now I have got the top gun. But I still haven't, even though I've done okay in the 5100, I'm somehow struggling more with the 5120. I'm not quite sure why. But like I said, this was the first actually decent match I had, and as you can see, extremely favourable matchmaking. Very, very few tier 9s on each side. I'm one of only 3, and the enemy tier 9s are a pair of IS-8s and a T-54, and of those, the T-54 is actually the toughest. But of ours, yeah, I mean, we've got me and an IS-8 and a Waffle Panzer IV, so it's not like we've got particularly well-armoured tanks at the top. So I was conscious of that, and I was particularly conscious of the fact that also being too aggressive in this thing gets you spanked really hard. You want to try and preserve your hit points for as long as possible, and choose carefully who you're going to give those hit points away to. Yeah, that makes it sound like, you know, you're graciously bestowing your hit points upon people. I suppose in a way you kind of are with the autoloaders. You've just got to be really careful about what shots you think you can take and what shots you don't want to take. So I was actually being quite cautious, and I think one of the problems with this especially is people see it as being like, oh, you're a heavy tank, you should be going here and you should be doing this. And those people don't tend to have played autoloaders themselves, because these things, they've only got a hit point pool. They don't really have armor to speak of. So maybe I was being a bit too cautious, but then I was still getting the hang of this thing. So there's a 1390 in the middle there. Our IS-8 is here as well. We've actually got a fairly good spread. It's an encounter mode match, so the focus is on this side of the map, but the other side is still quite important. But this team is going to prove to be quite decent. Not maybe spectacular, it wasn't a runaway crushing win, but on the other hand, runaway crushing wins are rarely that entertaining. Anyway, that 1390 is alone. Our 12T is just kind of driving past, and I thought, okay, I'll use the distraction. I thought I could get away without being shot to get there, and 2 shots in the 1390, and then I just ram him for the last bit of damage. That was quite nice. That's 1100 damage and 1 kill, and I've still got 4 shells left in my first clip. So that was alright. That's the kind of thing you have to do, really. You have to be really opportunistic and look for those ways that you can sneak in and do a bit of damage, and it's more like a medium tank than a heavy in that regard, really. But people see that it's a heavy and think you should do heavy things. Anyway, T-44, I know he's behind a shootable wall, so I'll just hit him. He puts one in me, but I maybe can finish him. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to retreat and reload. The reload on this is actually, I mean, it is way better. It's like 15-18 seconds better than on the 5100, so that's quite nice. And it doesn't actually get worse with the top gun, but the downside of the top gun is you only get 4 shells instead of 6. However, those 4 shells have got way more pen and about 100 more alpha on average, so it's a worthwhile trade. It's the extra penetration that you really want with the 120mm gun. Anyway, just about reloaded. I know there's stuff there. They're being kind of flanked around the outside by that 416, but he's quite low health, so I think they can take care of him. The T-54 is kind of the big threat on that flank, and that's the flank I'm trying to help with, because my initial thinking with going in the city was there's more opportunity to withdraw and actually reload. And it has worked out that way, but even though I went into the city, I've basically up until this point been entirely concentrating on helping the other flank, and unfortunately that one bounces, but I wasn't going to kill him with that last shot anyway. But anyway, that's nearly 3k damage now, and the guys behind me look like they're doing okay, so I was keeping an eye on it, because if the guys behind me just collapsed, then that would be a big problem, and I would then have to either run away or, well, I would just have to run away, because in between full clips, or in between the times when you're reloading, you're just basically helpless. So there's the T-54, and I'm going to basically end up wasting most of the clip against this guy, because he's pretty much hull down. There's very little chance I'm going to hit his commander's hatches at this. There we go, so half a clip just wasted. And at this point I turn around, because our IS-8 might need help, but honestly it looks like he's doing okay. However, there's the enemy IS-8, so he burns, but somebody else ninjas the kill. Oh well. Still, over 3,000 damage now. I think I was having not great ping on this particular evening, because I used the server-side reticle, and you can see there's a bit more delay than normal. I don't know... I mean, people have said to me that, you know, OMG Jedi, why do you use the server-side reticle? And then other people are of the opinion of, OMG, why would you use anything else? The thing that the server-side reticle has going for it, even though you might have bad ping, it will always show you where the server thinks the reticle is, and oh well, couldn't quite ninja that kill, but anyway. Whereas the client-side reticle, well, you can end up with, you've seen the screenshots where you get like the turret, the barrel will be pointed one way, and then the shell will kind of be flying out at 90 degrees to where the barrel is, kind of thing. Anyway, 2 shells left. Might as well make him count. He's fired, and I kind of, I don't know, slightly fluffed that shot, but it goes in through his turret, and people said to me, oh yeah, the IS-8 turret's kind of bouncy. Well, not really that much. Maybe he's got the stock turret though, I'm not sure. Gonna withdraw, and I don't know why I was pinging for health there especially. I thought he was going to come round after me, but I've still got plenty of health. Down to the last 5100, and we know where he was. So this is the opportunity to get a little bit more damage maybe. So we're just going to power off in that direction. This is not particularly a slow tank, it's got that going for it. It's like the 5100. It's you have to have more of a medium mentality in terms of moving around and what targets you're facing. The downside of the French autoloaders as versus some of the Americans is basically the time it takes to unload your clip. And it is a lot safer to do that from a distance, because if you're up close and personal, well. Anyway, 2 shots gone, 3, but he's moved. Can I get him? There we go, kill secured, 4 kills. I did ninja that last kill. Our T-34 was a bit butthurt, I don't know why. But anyway, maybe he doesn't play autoloaders himself. Maybe he's one of those people, like I say, makes that mistake of thinking, oh, it's a heavy tank. It's not really. So let's take a look at the scores. That was high caliber and my second class mastery, so it was okay. It wasn't fantastic, but it was enough for a second class. 4,304 damage done. Very little assisted damage though, and that, you know, bear in mind this was with the 100mm gun, so that's pretty decent for. I'd be happy with that result in a 5100, but it would be harder in a 5100 because your reload is so much longer. So it's a little easier in the 5120. But anyway, our T-44 did really well. He was at the top, 1100. I got almost 1100. That T-34 actually came in third with nearly 2k damage, 930 hit points. The enemy team was not fantastic particularly. There were some decent players on there, but the ones that needed to be good weren't especially. And you know, that the 1390 that I took out at the start, that might have been, you know, that's really good matchmaking for a 1390, so he might have been a big threat, who knows. There were some other players that just, the 416 kind of suicided early on. Their IS-8 wasn't particularly great. Their T-54 was one of their better players at least. But it wasn't a particularly tough team, and our team was good enough to watch my back. And if you're alone in a French autoloader, then it can be very team dependent. Sometimes their team will just leave you high and dry, and you might get off one clip and then that's it, you die. If you haven't made some stupid mistake yourself, because quite often you'll just read the situation wrong, and at least I do. I'm far from an expert at autoloaders, but I do okay sometimes. It depends on the tank, and it really depends on the team. Platooning's definitely recommended when you're playing one of these things. So, I don't totally suck in the 5120, I only mostly suck so far, but maybe I'll get the hang of it eventually. It seems like it should be a decent tank. It's just, compared to what the Americans get, it's I think that's more the case of the Americans being kind of a bit too good rather than the French being not quite good enough, but some people might argue otherwise. Anyway, if you did enjoy this replay, you can hit the like button, you can leave a comment below, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.